That is hardcore.
This is hardcore shit.
But for me, it's harder and harder to resist.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget, the murder podcast. We are going to talk about serial killers, cold cases, and all that fun stuff. Right, Bridget?
And sexy blondes too with big boobs.
Film noir. No, maybe we won't do that. Yeah, okay. All right, it's been a while.
Been a while, man.
What's going on
What's
over
going
there?
on?
Not too much. Not too much. Doing some transition stuff. We got a guest tonight. We got somebody returning champion. Who we got?
We got Bill Russell. Bill, he's a busy actor.
Bill, yeah, very busy. We'll see what he's into later on.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while, so I've got a shit ton of movies. So before that, I want to get a couple things real quick. Okay?
Okay.
Let's talk about this. We haven't ever talked about this before, even though I think you and I talked about it briefly off the pod, and I did send this to you like one of the first times that we talked about horror movies, I believe, long time ago, and that is the horror iceberg thing.
The horror iceberg. Okay.
Yeah. So we never really talked about this. So this is a thing. I don't know who came up with this. It's all over Reddit and basically anywhere that you can find it now. But it's sort of this thing where they just sort of created this iceberg level of sort of horror wickedness is what it's supposed to be, I assume. Mm-hmm. It's weird because there's actually different ones now. They've created different ones. There's actually a found footage one that's all found footage movies, and there's like other ones that are just different movies. But there is one main one that was like the main one. We'll run through some of these, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there are 8 different levels. There are 8 different levels of this horror iceberg. We'll run through some of them. Now, the first level, the top level, this one isn't even touching the iceberg. This is your Friday the 13th, The Conjuring, The Ring, Nightmare on Elm Street, Grudge, Scream, Insidious, Child's Play, Annabelle. These are what you would call typical horror movies, right? Like your standard horror movie kind of stuff. All right, and then your second level is Saw, Human Centipede, The House of Thousand Corpses, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes, Tusk, Midsommar, Hostel. These are your more hardcore, like little heavier. Not for everybody, right? There's some people like, I can't do that. Can't do that.
Yeah. Well,
And then we go into this third level. Now, third level is where Martyrs is, okay?
Yep.
So Martyrs, we consider that to be a pretty hardcore movie around here, but for them, it's in level 3. And then we also got the Solo, the 120 Days of Sodom, which I've seen, Human Centipede 2, Suicide Clubs, Cannibal Holocaust, The House that Jack Built, Serbian Film, Pink Flamingos, stuff like that. Those are the movies that are on that one. All right, and we've seen most of these ones, and we like. I think I like most of them. I think you like the ones that we talked about on here.
Yeah.
And then we go down to the next one. This is level 4. Now we're just at level 4 of 8. Okay, we got Slow Torture Puke Chamber.
Yep. Remember that one?
Remember that one? Life and Death of a Porno Gang.
Yep. Remember that one too?
I watched that one. I like that one. August Underground stuff, Necromantic, more of the Slaughter Vomit Dolls, that kind of stuff. That Melancholy Angel one that I watched. I don't know if you end up watching all that or not. I did. Where the Dead Go to Die, Philosophy of a Knife, Regurgitated Sacrifice. So, they're not all the same in here, but a lot of this is very much that extreme stuff, right? The extreme.
Yeah, a lot of bodily fluids and puke and.
Yeah, and okay, so level 5. Now we got Women's Flesh, My Red Guts, Girl Hell, 1999, Eccentric Psycho Cinema, Tumbling Doll of Flesh. We watched that one. Remember that one?
Which one did you just say that we watched? Tell me again, what was it?
Tumbling Doll of Flesh.
Oh, okay. That's in that category? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Taming of Rebecca, Gateway Meat, The Necrophiles. I actually just watched that one not too long ago. I don't know why that movie's even in here.
Well, that's what I was gonna say because I've seen that and I don't feel like it falls in this category.
it doesn't even fall in any of these categories. It's more of
Yeah,
a
right. Yeah.
silly. I don't know why it's in here. Maybe it's just for a joke. I don't know, but it's definitely not heavier than a lot of those other ones that I've already mentioned. It's very low budget stuff. I mean, there's a couple of, I guess you would say, extreme things about it, but it's so low budget that it doesn't seem real or anything. I don't know. It's weird. So all right, the next level 6, we got Traces of Death, Faces of Death, that sort of stuff. The more Mondo Cane, Buried in the Sand, Death Red File, Black Metal Veins, Dark Side of the Porn. There's other ones in there too. So this is more like stuff that's either supposed to be real or said to be real, and a lot of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
stuff, right?
Yep.
All right. And now we're going to the last two here. And the last two has stuff like Death to Kafar, Vomit Enema Ecstasy 1 and 2, KT Trilogy, Sada Scream Volume 1 to 5, Squirm Fest, that Kuso. Remember that Kuso movie?
Oh my god. What? That is so funny. That was my first movie recommendation or first movie I ever told you about. This is way before a podcast. I was just like, I had to turn that. I had to turn it off. I couldn't watch the rest of it.
The Motel Files and Other Random Cuts is another one. There's just different ones on here. I think some of this stuff is just really out there, like wild and crazy. And I don't know if any of it, some of it might be real. I'm not for sure. So we get down to the last level and we got Snuff R73, Fubar, Fetus Munchers, Most Disturbed Person on the Planet, Orgish Collection, Poor Gore, Volume 1 and 2. So I did watch some of this stuff. The Poor Gore, Volume 1 and 2, that is... So that's just like a lot of puking mostly. And like an enema with the puke. I mean, but it isn't like... I didn't feel like that was like too extreme. But now, I heard that some of this stuff is just like real videos of like executions and stuff and like beheadings and all that. And I'm like, I don't even want any part of that. I don't even, I don't even associate that as a horror movie.
It's not,
I mean, it's horrible and horrific in its own way. And I understand that. And maybe for some people, it's really hard to separate the two. But for me personally, I don't want to see it. There's no entertainment value for me. Like, to me, there's way entertainment value in Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Martyrs and even, get down to, hell, you can say Regarded Sacrifice has some entertainment value, I guess. I mean, to a point. Even Kuso, maybe. But that sort of real stuff, I don't even know why I don't like that being on the list. So that the Most Disturbed Person on the Planet, I clicked on one of those for a brief second.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I saw. Okay. I saw a man insert in a pickle jar in a certain area, body cavity, all the way up, all the way into it.
Oh.
Yep. And it gets all the way into it, and then it breaks.
Oh.
And then there's blood and all that stuff. And that's where I turned it off. And then it's not really my thing either for entertainment value. But so there's a lot more to it. That's the only scene I saw. But so those are, again, I don't really think that those are horror movies,
I don't think so. I don't think so either. It's funny. So while we're talking about this, I went ahead and pulled up the horror iceberg so I could kind of look at it while we're talking about it. And I feel like you and I could come up with such a better list that's kind of like, to me, like the real stuff, that's not movies. It's not. Mm. You're right. You're 100% right. So I'm like, man, I almost want to come up with a better list and we could just call it something different other than horror iceberg, because I don't remember you sending me this list. I remember you told me that you did, but I was like, this is so interesting that someone come up with this because I don't feel like you can fit all of these in on the same damn list at all. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah, I'm like you. It's the last one, this last category, which I've never seen any of these on the last category, but like if it's realistic, that's not a movie. It's just not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know it's very weird. It's very strange. I don't know who came up with the list either, but it is definitely uneven. Like you said, that necrophile is not even supposed to be in there anyway at all. I don't know. Maybe something that this person watched in that movie got really upset by it or something. Thought, oh, this is really hardcore. Maybe I don't know, but there's definitely worse movies than that for sure out there. I don't know. I mean, I don't see myself completing this list, especially on that tier, because again, if it's not for entertainment value, I don't really have any reason to check it out.
Yeah,
So it is
agreed.
like, and I do like we like to push our boundaries and watch things that are extreme and stuff, but there is a point, I feel like, a point where it's like, okay, this has no plot, not that everything we watch had a plot necessarily, but at least it is, at least it was fake,
Yeah,
so
it's one thing with extreme horror movies is I wish someone come up with some new ideas because a lot of them gets to the torture porn or the
the
puking
pee-pee,
and the
the pee-pee.
pissing. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
can we come
yeah.
up with some new ideas? I mean, there are some things that there's some things that I've watched where I wanted to like dump bleach on my brain afterwards, because it was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I was so disturbed, but that didn't have anything to do with, uh, torture porn and pissing out people's mouth, and it's just gross. It's not even horror; it's just nasty,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it serves the story, sometimes it does. It's okay. It's fine. Uh,
Hmm.
there's certain ones I feel like it did okay with.
Hey,
Yeah, there's certain ones that it might feel warranted to a degree, but a lot of them, it's just for shock value alone. And if that's what you like, that's fine. But yeah, I think for us, we want to get to a point where we feel like the same way we did when we watched maybe like Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time or Martyrs for the first time, things like that. Which I know a lot of people will watch Martyrs think, oh, there's no redeeming value to this movie whatsoever. But I would disagree on that. But again, I don't personally, and some people may. I'm not, to each their own. But to me, there's no redeeming value to watching like a real beheading or a real execution or any of that sort of stuff. It's just not my thing.
yeah, same. I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, there's other lists too you can check out on Reddit. There's a found footage list. If people love found footage, there's ones, and it starts out with the typical ones: Blair Witch and Cloverfield and Wreck and all those different ones on the top, and it goes to like Creep on number 2, Willow Creek on number 3. It goes all the way down, and then the last one is August Underground again, back to August Underground and that sort of stuff, and sort of found footage extreme stuff. So, but yeah, there's different ones. So yeah, we just want to talk about that because some people obviously know about that iceberg thing and everything.
And it's so
Before,
weird too. If you pull it up, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
If you pull it
no,
up, like the little pictures on the side, the little
yeah,
the
yeah.
little stick men, they just get weird. Like, what is this?
Well, I think I was trying to say like, oh, this makes me happy. Oh, this is weird. Oh, this is
Yeah, and then it just gets.
and then you get turned into a dolphin, I think, and then you get translucent. You get like some sort of higher being, maybe, if you see that. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I don't know. Maybe you get
Yeah,
superpowers. Maybe if you watch all the last one, you get superpowers. I don't know.
maybe that's what it is. Dang.
Yeah, yeah, it could be cool. It could be
I
cool.
will not be getting superpowers then. Sorry.
Oh, damn it.
Might get turned into a dolphin though.
Maybe. All right. Well, there you go. Good enough. One last thing before we get into our movies. We always talk about physical media, physical copies, stuff like that. To report my local Walmart, I will tell you, I was in it recently. They have done away with their bins. The
Wow.
$5, $7.50 whatever bins that they have. That's just stuff with stuff. I always hated those bins anyway, but they're always there. Always there was a staple for a long time. All gone. They still have one row, like one aisle, but not a full aisle because there's toys are already on that aisle. So an aisle. No, there's no like four ways or anything like that anymore. There's the end caps, two end caps, and the aisle, and that's it. But I think even that's going to be dwindling. So it's coming down. It's coming down. Speaking of physical copies, one thing that we haven't talked about, I don't think we talked about all these other places like Best Buy, Target, all that stuff. We haven't talked about Redbox.
Box. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You still get Redbox, don't you?
I don't. I used to have T-Mobile, and T-Mobile like give you like a free one every month or something, every 2 weeks or something. So I used to go get some. I haven't in a long time, but I was nearby a few recently, and I looked and I noticed something. And what I noticed was this: like every week, whenever they put the new releases out, they always put like the biggest ones on top. Display the poster and whatnot. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've been noticing every time every time I go buy one now, all it shows is Barbie.
Barbie?
Barbie. Yes. Barbie was that week of Barbie, I assume, was the last week of new releases for Redbox.
Oh.
Nobody's.
Okay. I was like, Barbie came out like forever.
Yeah, it was a while. Yeah.
I was like, Barbie?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so
Now,
dang.
I don't know if this is everywhere. I'm just telling you this is where I'm at, my location.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have not been changed at all. So there's nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing, and that. So I haven't heard like an official word like they're going under or whatever. But so there are a couple of things, So apparently they're getting sued by people. They've gotten sued a few times. Disney sued them once. I remember that. I think Universal is suing them for licensing fees. I think that's this year. They're getting sued for that. I think CVS is trying to sue them because they won't take their kiosks away from their stores.
Wow.
Some kind of deal. So, and another thing here, it says Redbox first quarter revenue plummets 52%. And they said that they're unable to secure major studio movies. And I guess their parent company, Chicken Soup, is in a lot of trouble anyway financially. So I guarantee you they are going the way of the buffalo.
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like. I don't. How much does Redbox even charge for movies these days?
I used to be $1, and then it went up to $1.50. Then it was like, I don't know, it's like $2, $2.50. Probably depending on where you are too. It was like two or two between $2 and $2.50 here where I am. The last time I went, but it's just people just aren't doing it.
Yeah,
they're just not doing it.
Yeah, so the last time that I rented from Redbox, that was back when it was like $1 for a DVD, and then I think it was like, I don't know, $1.25 or something for a Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm,
but when
sure.
when I moved to Nolensville was a little bit kind of outer skirts Nashville. There wasn't any kiosks around, so we just kind of stopped renting because there was no kiosks around. But
Sure.
But that was really the only reason. There was no other reason why, just because there was none around. But damn, that's kind of crazy that it's going away, though.
Yeah, yeah. There's quite a few in this town, but again, everyone that I didn't look for any that had any new releases, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing new that's come out. And if it's worldwide, then yeah, that's a big lag, because as hard as it is to get people to rent anything, they're definitely not going to rent something that was out months and months ago that they can definitely stream somewhere.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like, yeah, it's going to go away for sure. I'm like, with all the streaming, I'm surprised that Redbox has held on as long as it has, to be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah, to be honest, true. I agree with you because I'm going to be honest. I always got deals on Redbox and usually never paid for any of them. Like there was always like I said, with T-Mobile, there was always codes they would give you, free ones. or there would always be, back in the day, there used to be all kinds of codes, and you just, like, I didn't, or half price. I hardly ever really just spent a lot of money there. So I don't think they made a lot of money anyway. I'm, obviously it was a good business model for the customer, but probably not for business.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
Redbox has like their big thing now is they didn't kind of doing obviously doing away with the kiosks, but they're gonna have their own like streaming service, right?
Oh, they've had one for a long time.
Oh,
It's
have
kind
they?
of,
Okay.
oh yeah, it's kind of weird. Now, back in the day, remember back when Netflix came out, and like maybe that first year or two after, maybe like Netflix actually, or I'm sorry, Redbox actually came out with their own streaming service back then. It just didn't work
Oh,
out
okay.
for them. It didn't work out for them. It flopped. And, but now, yes, now they have their own streaming service, but, I don't know if even that'll stay around because, I think it's mostly with ads, so it should be okay, but who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They got to be they better be pretty competitive with
Right?
all the different streaming services out there.
Exactly. That's all I
Yeah.
got for you. You got anything for me, or you want to jump to movies?
Hey, let's jump to movies.
All right. What have you been watching?
Man, so well, I've watched a lot, but I know we've it's been a while, so I'm not going to name all of them, but I'm just going to kind of name just a few.
That's okay, because I'm going to name them all, and you're going to listen
Are
to
you
every one of
okay?
them. I got a
Okay,
big shit ton of
okay.
them.
So, well, I'll go first because I don't
Go
have
ahead.
that many.
Go ahead.
First movie I watched was or not the first movie I watched, but first one on my list is The Killing of Sacred Deer.
Yeah. It's a good
I had
movie.
never seen this movie.
Oh, it's a great
I
movie.
had never seen it,
I thought
and
you'd seen it before. But you've seen Lobster, right?
no.
You haven't seen Lobster. See, you got it. You've got to watch all this dude's movies. I love all his movies. He's such a good filmmaker.
So
Go
I
ahead.
did not realize that until tonight when I was like, what year did this movie come out? So I could write it down. It's 2017. I noticed that the director is the same director as Dogtooth. I
Dogtooth.
was
Yes, he
like,
did. Yeah, he did
I was like,
Dogtooth.
wow. I was like, Dogtooth is a pretty crazy movie. So this movie it was definitely different.
It is
Different.
very, very different. Yes.
Yeah. I almost like when it was over, I was like, I mean, it just kind of left me like, wow, what did I just watch? Like, it's not what I expected, I guess.
Sure.
And the director does so well with. He's a great director. I'm gonna tell you that much. Like, he does so well. Like, even the way they talk, like their dialogue is so like monotone. It's
Yes.
almost like kind of chilling. It's the first thing I noticed. I was like, you're talking kind of like sort of robotic. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know if that's
Yeah.
right or not, but it's
It's
very
a.
monotone. It's weird.
It is. It's actually one of my favorite performances by Colin Farrell. But he also does it too in The Lobster as well, because he plays in that one as well. Yeah, but it is so deadpan delivery. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's not what I expected at all.
No,
Completely
no.
at all. So, and I kind of like that though. I kind of like, if it was what I expected, I probably wouldn't like it as good. So
Right,
there's
right. Well,
that.
you got to go back. You got to go back and watch the Lobster, which is, it's not, the story's not the same, but there are some similarities again with that sort of delivery and everything. But it's really weird too, really weird, really messed up movie. But he went on to do a lot of other things. He did a movie called The Favorite, which I would not have normally even liked that movie at all. But with him, the way he directed it and everything, I did enjoy it. But he did that movie Poor Things that just came out last year with Emma Stone. She just won an Oscar for it. Poor Things, the one about Frankenstein. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
check that one out.
Okay.
He's a good director. I like him.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of like shocked when I saw Dogtooth. I watched Dogtooth for like, several years ago for the just the shock value of it, right?
Sure.
But I was like, holy shit, I kind of liked it because I was like, this is like fucked up. I mean, it's so different. So
Mm-hmm.
different. But
Yes.
yeah, he knows how to get in there and chill your bones for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A second movie on my list, I don't even know if this would even be a horror movie. It's kind of a horror thriller. It's called Lucky Bastard. Have you
Yeah,
seen this?
I talked about this on a podcast
Did you?
a while back. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was like, I feel like I've heard of it. That's why, because you've talked about it then. Okay.
Hmm.
I randomly come across it and I liked it. It's 2014 found footage about a porn star that
Hmm.
invites his fans to have sex.
The
No,
girl
a
from
porn website that invites fans to come have sex with porn stars. Is that right?
right,
That's right.
right,
Yeah.
right. They have like different ones, but the one that this guy gets is the name of it is Lucky Bastard because he's the lucky bastard. And then
Yeah.
the girl from what's that movie? The pickaxe, My Bloody Valentine, the remake. She's the porn girl.
Oh, was that who that is?
Yep.
Okay. I was like, she looks so familiar. She looks so familiar. Okay, that's who it is. Now it's slow. You know how I am with them damn slow movies. But
Hmm.
the payoff of it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like it went from, okay, it's kind of slow. Okay. Almost kind of predictable to, oh, I didn't see that shit coming. So I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
I did a couple rewatches. I did a rewatch of Circus of the Dead.
Sure.
Tracy's son Matthew has never seen it before. I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? You haven't seen Circus of the Dead? Oh my god! So yeah, he loved it, of course. So,
Cool.
for my birthday, Tracy found me a hard copy of Frankenstein Created Bikers.
Oh, nice.
Been kind of hard to find. I've been looking for it for a long time. I think he paid a pretty penny for it, but
Hmm.
I was so glad. I'm so glad that I got a hard copy of that movie. And I'll tell you something funny about this movie is that we talk about hard copies and digital all the time, right?
Yep.
So, first time I watched this movie was in 2019, and I liked it so much. I bought it on Amazon, but I bought the digital version, right?
Sure.
That was back when I was married and we shared an account. Well, it just so happened been like kind of under my ex-husband's email address. And I was like, damn it. So I don't have it. So I didn't have it anymore. That's how easy it is to lose digital shit.
Sure.
I'm like, you lose power, anything, you're going to lose all that shit. But guess what? I still got my hard copy over here. So
There
I
you
was
go.
really excited. It's got cool bonus features on. They showed some videos when they were doing the Indiegogo campaign, and I love shit like that. So, but if
Yeah.
you've not seen Frankenstein Created Bikers, it's a hella good movie. I think you can stream it. I'm pretty sure you can stream it on like Amazon or something right now, but it's really good and just kind of checks off all the boxes for me.
Yeah.
Couple more movies I watched. Clown Motel. The first one, so there's the first one, 2019, which is what I just watched, and
Hmm.
and then they have a part 2, and they have a part 3 that I believe it's in post. No, it's not in post production. Yeah, it is post production.
So they're
Right?
working on part 3. Okay, I've seen the
Yeah.
first one. I've not seen the second one.
Okay, so you did see the first one. Okay.
Yeah, way back in the day.
They're doing this thing right now for the part 3 where you can pay like it's part of their campaign. You can pay to be in it. And one thing I found interesting is that you can pay, I think, $1,000 and be killed by Jenna Jameson in part 3.
Jenna Jameson?
I was like, Jenna Jameson's gonna be a clown? Oh my god!
I thought she was like really sick.
Well, that's what it says. And I don't think she
Okay.
is. Do you think
All right.
do you think she's sick? I don't think she's that. Is she that sick?
I
Maybe
thought
not.
so. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, pay $1,000, get killed by Jenna Jameson. Doesn't say how you're gonna get killed by her. She might be say I don't know, but that'd be pretty cool. I was like Jenna Jameson and a clown. Wow, that'd be pretty crazy. But
Yeah.
another movie I watched was a movie I picked up a hard copy at FrankenCon from Slash Chill. Yeah, Slash Chill Productions. This one was Tapeworm Z.
Tapeworm Z, yeah.
It's pretty damn good, actually. It was fun. It was funny, kind of campy, and had a nice little cameo with Tony Hack Covington.
Tony Hack's in there, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure is,
and there's a little cameo with Billy Pond. So He's the director of Circus of the Dead, in case you didn't know, and I love it. It's in a little cameo. It's so cute because you can see like I'm probably the only damn person ever that would point like see this in the background. He's got all this like he's got Circus of the Dead swag.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, smart marketing over there.
There you go. Yeah.
But no, it was a really fun movie. Um, last one I'm gonna mention is Abigail.
Abigail,
I wanted to
the
just mention
vampire.
this. Yeah, I wanted to mention it because I remember you saw it, and I remember you saying I was not even going to watch this movie until you said on the podcast. You're like, surprisingly kind of liked it. So I did. I surprisingly liked it too.
Yep.
Now, the only thing I have is like, oh my god, it's a little slow to take off. I feel like it really didn't take off until about an hour in the movie. But when it took off, it took off.
Yeah.
So, and it had some twists in there that I couldn't predict, that I didn't see coming. So that was pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah. I think that's what saved it, because the trailer really set up a lot for it, to be like, oh, this is this movie. I already know everything about it, but there was
That's exactly what I thought too. Like I wasn't even going to watch it honestly until you're like, oh, it's pretty good. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. So I'm kind of excited to hear your list because
Well, don't fall
my
asleep.
list is getting a little stale over here. So
Don't fall asleep because this is going to be a while. All right. I'm not even listening to everything, but this is a long list. It's been weeks. Okay. This is not everything I watched, but this is a lot of it.
Okay, and at the end of the movie, after you say the title, you have to say whether you recommend it or not.
Recommend or not? Okay.
Is that too much? Okay.
I recommend nothing. Lord of Misrule is the first one I watched from 2023. I think this one's on Hulu. It's an okay movie. I don't know if I would recommend it to you or not. It's a lot like Wicker Man. I obviously love the original Wicker Man, but it does play a little bit like that. And it's funny when they do these sort of weird society folk kind of situations. It always seems to end up going very close to the Wicker Man. I guess it's just one of those things where you can't help but rip it off. But I don't think anybody's ever came close to beating it. But I mean, it's an okay movie. It's not that great. Up next was Jeffrey's Hell. This is Aaron Irons. I had him on the podcast a couple years ago, I believe it was. He had a movie called Chest, and he was at Freaking Con, and he gave me a link to check out his new movie called Jeffrey's Hell. And so this movie is another found footage movie. And I'll tell you, Aaron, he knows his found footage stuff. He knows how to, in this one he actually plays the lead. The director does, and I was like, "Oh shit, he fucking stepping up here." But his camera work is really great, and he really knows how to angle it for found footage. He really knows how to do it. So if you really like found footage kind of stuff, I'd say check his stuff out. He does a lot of stuff in caves. Both of them were revolved around caves. This one's no different. But yeah, worth a watch for sure.
Where do you think you could find that at?
I'm not sure if that one's even out yet. I know he did like a festival run. I know Chess is on Tubi and other places streaming, but I don't know if that one's actually streaming yet. He gave me a link to watch that one. But but it will probably be streaming soon, if not.
Okay.
If not
Jeffrey's Hill.
Yeah. Up next was a rewatch of Southbound, which is a anthology movie. Actually, the directors of Abigail, they did a section in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's worth a watch if you like anthologies. Up next is Cry Havoc. And I only mention this because I want you to look it up real quick. Just look up an image of Cry Havoc because I want to talk about it. It's not really a good movie, and I don't recommend it or anything. I just want you to look it up because I want to talk about it for a second.
Cry Havoc. Oh, hey. And you say go to images. Oh. Looks, 2000, is it 2020?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure I'm looking at the right image. Is it the so he looks pretty creepy.
Not the bad guy. I need you to look at the guy who looks just like an older actor.
Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson. That's not Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson's dead, isn't he?
I don't know, is he? But
Yeah.
doesn't he look like Charles
He
Bronson?
looks exactly. He is trying to copy Charles Bronson.
Like, what the fuck? He looks just like him.
He is trying to copy him. Yes.
Like, it's funny when you're like, who does he look like? Well, I was sitting here going, from 2020? That's funny. Wow. He straight up looks just like his damn identical twin.
Oh, and he's trying to do his mannerisms and everything in this movie. So I mean, maybe worth a watch for that. It's not a great movie, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's like an impersonator almost. You know, kind of weird.
Wow. That's so funny. I
Yeah.
thought that too, that was, but I was like, the timeline didn't add up there. It's funny.
Right. Okay. All right. Up next is a movie called Almost Mercy. Have you seen this movie?
Almost Mercy. I don't think so. Doesn't sound familiar.
2015. I figured that you had seen this one because it's got Bill Moseley in it, Kane Hodder.
Oh, I don't think I've seen it. Hold on, let me look it up. Let me see. What did you say it was called?
It's called Almost Mercy.
Almost Mercy. It's not. I mean, it sounds familiar, but or maybe. Oh no, wait. I don't think I've seen it. I haven't. Nope, I haven't seen it.
So it's just about these two kids who are very different and weird at school, you know, and kind of picked on, you know, and whatever. And it kind of just leads into like one of them basically kind of in leaning toward the school shooter vibe, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it ends up turning it on its head in the end. But so it's worth a watch. It's an indie film. It's low budget stuff, but yeah, Bill Moseley's in there and Kane Hodder and all that.
Just like little cameos. Okay.
I mean, yes and no. Not like a brief second. They both have their parts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, they're not the stars for sure, but enough. Not just a hey, how you doing? I'm Bill Moseley. You know, I mean, they both get some screen time, a little bit anyway. Yeah, worth a watch. Up next, I did a rewatch of a lot of the Hellraiser movies. Do you like any of those at all? Hellraiser movies?
I really like the original one. The second one was okay. First and second one, but after that, it was just kind of...
First and second ones. See, yeah, I think everybody kind of gets lost with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are a bunch of them.
I know, and I'm surprised that they continued to just continued and continued and continued. I'm like, does it have that big of a following? Well, not a lot of people talk about Hellraiser. It's kind of cool you're talking about it because
they don't actually. They really don't talk. It's really not one of those franchises that people talk about a lot, which is kind of strange. And I mean, yeah, 1 and 2 are obviously way by far the better ones. But I mean, watching all the other ones, I mean, they all have kind of their own merits. I mean, there's certain things I like about them. There's definitely some things that are pretty cool. Even the one where it goes to space is pretty cool. It's not bad. I personally like Deader, which I think is 8 maybe or 9. I don't know exactly, but I like that one. And even though that was one of those movies where it wasn't even a Hellraiser movie, it was a movie that they put Hellraiser into. You know, they're like, hey, we got this movie, let's put Pinhead in it.
Which one was that one?
That was Deader, and I think they did that to like maybe a couple of them, maybe. But you know, and then they after Bradley, there was another one. I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't very good. Then the next one was actually pretty good, and then that last one on Hulu I thought was pretty decent too. So I mean, there's some good ones in there, but yeah, nothing like the original for sure. Up next was a little movie I talked to you about. You didn't watch it, but you're gonna have to do it. It's called Sweatshop.
Sweatshop, yes. I would. Every time I go watch that, something else would happen or something. And you can stream it on Tubi, right?
You stream it on Tubi, yeah. It's on Tubi, Plex, and all that stuff. I think it's on Plex for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's on Tubi. Sweatshop from 2009. You know, it's really rare that you come across like a movie that you never really heard anything about. I had not heard a word about this movie at all, and you just really love it. You really go, wow, I really like that movie. Now, this is a really low budget movie. It's made by a guy named Stacey Davidson, who apparently doesn't do movies anymore, but he did a couple. He did two or three. I'll talk about another one later, but this one is the first one I came across. And he was a special effects guy on some movies too. And those special effects guys, whenever they come and make their own movies, sometimes it's pretty good.
I
You
know.
know,
I've noticed that. I've noticed that a lot.
yeah,
Especially in horror movies, dude. That's
horror movies. Yeah, look at
yes.
Damien Leon, and but it goes back to like even Robert Hall and Ryan Nicholson and stuff. So I mean, the special effects guys, yeah, they know what they're doing, so they know how to make it work. I really like this movie. Now, is the acting fantastic? No, no, it's not. Is the dialogue perfect? No, it's not. Not by any means is it. But I love the look of it. I love the aesthetics. It's just great. And I love the kills. The kills are for a low budget independent horror movie. These kills are fantastic.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Like I was just like, how did they even do that? I mean, it's 2009, but I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think it's one of the really better done. Like I don't know what the budget was of this movie, but low budget movies like to make it look as good as it is really impressive. So you got to check this one out. It's really good. I watched it twice already.
Oh no shit. That is
Yeah,
crazy. That
yeah.
is so
Like I
crazy.
said, you're not gonna fall in love with the dialogue. You might hate most of the characters, but you can't discount that gore, man, because it is really good.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
Up next was a first time watch of that movie, Imaginary, the Blumhouse movie, PG-13, about the teddy bear,
Oh yeah.
kind of thing. It was okay. It wasn't that great. Even my kids, they liked Megan, they liked Five Nights at Freddy's, but they were. I don't feel like they were even that interested in this one.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
pretty
so
bad.
it wasn't. Yeah. I mean, it was okay, but I mean, they're like when they get into the imaginary world, seeing parts of it, it's pretty cool, I guess. But yeah, it's just okay. I think pretty forgettable, honestly. Up next was first time watches of Train to Busan and Peninsula. Peninsula. Have you watched any of these movies, Train to Busan and Peninsula?
I don't think so.
Now, of course, people have been raving about Train to Busan for the longest time, and I've actually owned both these movies for the longest time, and I just have not been in the mood for a zombie movie, so I didn't watch them. And maybe I still wasn't. Maybe I should have waited longer. I mean, they're good. They're really good. I don't know. Zombie's been done, isn't it? It has really been done
It's
to
funny
death.
when you say that. When you say that, I was like sitting there thinking the same thing. That I have to be in a mood to watch a zombie movie, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's got to be really good because it's like, oh, now here's another zombie movie.
yeah, yeah.
It's got to be
I mean,
different.
yeah, and don't get me wrong. There's some really cool scenes on the train Train to Busan, and they're actually making an American version of this Train to Busan now. I think they're working on an American version of it, so it was pretty successful. And the prequel, the Peninsula. I mean, there's some pretty cool like scenes in the car and everything. They're good movies. I don't know. For me personally, I'm just sort of like, I have literally, I think, seen it all when it comes to zombies. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, from Romero to Snyder to even like Shaun of the Dead, there's just it's really, and of course Walking Dead. I mean, it's really been done. So it's really hard for me to get into that kind of stuff anymore, sadly. But maybe one day. Up next was a little movie from 1988 called Bad Dreams. It's a decent little slasher movie. It's got that girl from your favorite Friday, or not Friday, your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street, Jennifer Rubin. She was in
Oh, okay.
part three. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a
Cool.
decent little sort of slasher. More of like a, not really. I wouldn't even say a slasher. It's more like a psychological cult thing. Really, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
More than anything. Up next was Lord of Illusions. You seen this movie?
Lord of Illusions. What's it about?
It's Clive Barker directed, 1995. A private detective gets more and more than he bargains for when he encounters Philip Swan, a performer whose amazing illusions captivate the world, but they are not really what everyone thinks.
I don't know. It kind of sounds familiar, but then It could be just sounds familiar. I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
I definitely seen parts of it and clips and everything for the longest time, but I think this might be my first time full watching the whole thing. It's pretty good. Scott Bakula is in here. He plays the lead character, but written and directed by Clive Barker. So really, should I say more? You know, it's going to be weird and strange, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it is. It is.
Okay.
So worth a watch. Yeah, I say worth a watch on that one. Up next was 1961's The Innocents. I heard a lot of people talk about this movie. It's just like an adaptation of The Turn of the Screw, really. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty well done. I think it gets a lot of talk because there's a grown woman kissing a kid, a boy, on the mouth.
Oh.
I don't know if that's the reason, but I mean, it's a good movie. But that's the one big take. I'm going, oh, that wouldn't happen today.
Right.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So up next was Night Watch. Now, we've talked about Night Watch before. We talked about Night Watch from '87 with Ian McGregor, right? Remember that?
Yep.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you know that was actually a remake?
Oh, I think I did know that actually. I think I
You
did
did?
know that. Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
I
I haven't.
did.
I haven't seen the original one though.
Yeah.
But the first time I ever watched that movie was really not even that long. I mean, I say not that long ago. It was probably like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. But I
Uh,
think I watched it because I watched a documentary, and I heard on that documentary that it was a remake. So
okay. All right.
yeah.
So the first one is a Danish movie, and I mean it's pretty close. I mean there's some it follows it pretty good, but yeah. So it's on Shutter now, and it's definitely worth a watch. I mean there's some differences and stuff too, but now here's what I take away from it. It's kind of wild. This Nicolo Coaster, I'm not saying his name right. Waldo. Okay. You probably don't know that by his name or the way I'm pronouncing it, but if you saw his face, you'd be like, I know that guy. He's been in a lot of American movies. He played it. He played Ian McGregor's character, and he was really young when he played it, right?
Okay, so
Well,
what year did that come out? What year did it
so
come
that came out in 94
out? Okay.
on that one. But
Uh-huh.
he was just really young, okay? But now he's older. Well, the Danish, they went and did a part 2 that came out last year. It's called Night Watch Demons Are Forever.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yeah, and he's in it, and he's older now, and it's about him and his daughter and stuff. And it's really good too. Yeah, you should watch it. It's on Shutter as well. But like seeing that, I was like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I've seen that guy in a lot of American stuff. And then I go back and oh wait, he was the young guy in the first one. So yeah, it's pretty wild. But it follows it too. Like all the characters return from the first one. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, that is pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So way many years later. Up next is Farmhouse from 2008.
Farmhouse.
I remember somebody mentioned us on a podcast about this movie, Farmhouse. It's the one with Steven Weber.
Okay. Farmhouse. I don't remember this one.
It's a psychological thriller set in the modern Midwest. Follow a young couple as they leave their everyday lives behind and head out for a new beginning. After becoming stranded in an isolated wine vineyard in the middle of nowhere, the young couple are forced to face the secrets that they're running from, all the while trying to escape the malicious intent of the mysterious inhabitants. It's pretty good. There's a couple of hardcore scenes in it for sure. I wouldn't say it's overall a hardcore movie, like overall, but there's a couple scenes in here that you might wince at.
Do you think it'd be a movie that I would like?
Yeah, I think so. I think you'd like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a couple of scenes in here. There's a scene. I've already seen another movie that did it, so I wasn't as probably like, oh crap. But that movie that I saw came out after this one. You know what I mean? So if I'd seen this one first, I'd probably been like, oh wow. But even this one is, I think, probably worse. Maybe I don't know. It's good. Yeah, there's a couple of scenes. Yeah, it's worth a watch.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Up next is a movie called The Hood Has Eyes.
The Hood has eyes? I've never even heard of it.
This is a super duper low budget movie from 2007. After being violently raped and humiliated, Kimmy seeks revenge on the sadistic gangsters that wronged her. It's
Oh, wow.
it's it's low budget. It's low budget. But I will tell you this: after this one girl, after she gets raped, the dude he sti- he sticks his finger in her butt and then rubs it on her, but under her nose and says, "Oh, is your name Sanchez?" Uh, uh, funny, funny.
Oh my god, that's
So
funny.
I don't know if I'd say
Oh,
I don't know if I'd say what to watch, but up next is The First Omen.
I watched that not too long ago.
You watched The
That's
First
a
Omen?
good movie. Yeah, the
You,
original one.
no, the
Yeah.
first Omen. No, not the original Omen. The First Omen. The
Oh,
First Omen
the one that just came out.
just came out. Yeah,
Yeah, did you like it?
I liked it.
That's not.
Yeah.
Is that your first time watching it?
Yep. hmm
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's on Hulu now. You can watch it on Hulu.
I just watched. Did I talk about that on last podcast? So I'm
The
like,
first, the
yeah,
first Omen or the original? The ones
no,
from the 70s, or the
I
ones that
watched
just came out?
I watched both of them. I watched
No,
both of them
okay,
recently.
no. You haven't
Recently.
talked about. You haven't talked about. You talked about the old one. You didn't talk about the new one.
Oh shit! No, I totally watched the new one. Like I was like, I feel like I just watched that like not that long ago. But
Yeah.
I don't know how I missed that and didn't put it on my list. But yeah, yeah.
That's
So
it.
I liked it. Did you like it? Because I did.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly, it's probably the best sequel the Omen has, right? Like
Oh,
by far.
100%,
Yeah,
100%. So
yeah,
it's funny because I didn't think that I was gonna like it based off of all the other omens that have come out. So I didn't think I was
right.
gonna like it, but I surprisingly I did. So,
Yeah,
but that's why I watched the original one because I knew I wanted to watch the first omen.
okay, sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
cannot believe I did not have that on my list. Oh my
yeah,
gosh, it's so funny. That's why I was like, I'm not going to name all of them, but sometimes if I forget to write them down or put them on my slasher app, God, we
yep.
watch so many damn movies, guys. It's just crazy. You
So
forget.
many, so many.
Yep.
Yep. Up next is a TV movie from 1998 called "I've Been Waiting for You." You know, back in the day, they used to have these little light horror movies on TV. You know that kind of stuff. Some of them are hit or miss. This one's it's okay. It's got the girl from Scrubs on here, Sarah uh, Chalky. I don't know how you say her name. But and quite a Ben Foster's in here too. Quite a few people that you probably will recognize. But it's just a little made-for-TV movie about witches, really.
Yeah, some
Like,
of those made for TV movies, like back in the day, were like
well,
pretty
back in
good.
the day, back in like maybe 70s, 80s for
That's what
sure.
I'm thinking, like 80s.
But when you
When
get
I
to
say
like
back in the day, I mean back in the day.
yeah, but when you get to like these mid late 90s, like most of this stuff was just kind of like filler. I feel like because I mean they're not like great, for sure.
Yeah.
Up next was the new movie Tarot, like a tarot card, Tarot.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The PG horror movie about these kids with the tarot deck, and they do the readings, and things go horribly wrong, and the monsters come to face them. To
So I watched the trailer for that because I think I saw you were watching it,
hmm
and it reminded me too much of a movie that we've both watched recently, where they grab this hand and you can see like dead people
talk to
and
me,
shit. Yeah,
talk to me. Yeah,
that's what it kind of
yeah,
reminded me of.
yeah.
Was it like that at all?
No, not like that. I mean, other than playing the game, I guess you could say, maybe
Okay.
with similar, but no, it's not like that. It's mostly just like they all get their cards drawn, and they all have this character on the cards, and then their specific character comes to life and tries to kill them. For a PG-13 movie, I think it's pretty good for a PG-13 movie. And I only say that for a PG-13 movie because, I mean, it's no Insidious, nothing like that, but the monsters are pretty cool. There are surprisingly quite a few deaths for a PG-13 movie. Obviously you're not going to get a whole lot of blood and gore and that kind of stuff, but there's quite a few deaths. The creatures look pretty cool. They're not bad. I enjoyed it enough. Maybe I had low expectations because it was PG-13. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it was amazing, but I mean, don't rush out by any means, but you can throw it on a night you just want to watch something new. That kind of stuff. Yeah. It's that sort of stuff. Up next was Faceless After Dark. That movie was I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. I really wasn't that impressed with it, to be honest. It's a really low budget movie about a girl, an actress who is in a horror movie and then she just starts killing people. But I don't know. I just wasn't. I don't. Nothing much else to say about it. It wasn't really that great. Up next was Sting. That's the new Spider movie that came out pretty recently. A lot of Spider movies coming out these days.
Right? I mean, yeah. Like I've seen, there's been a few of them, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just watched that Infested not too long ago. And then this one was okay. I mean, if you like Spider movies, it's not. It doesn't disappoint. I guess it's just one spider though this time, as opposed to the multitude of millions that were in the Infested. But it gets really big, so it's a big ass spider. One big ass spider.
So I haven't watched Infested yet because I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this or not. Like, it might make me itch or something.
It might. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We talked about the Necrophiles already. That was a horror comedy, really. It's again probably a couple extreme things in there, but nothing really to be like, oh my god, let's put this on an iceberg list. Up next was a little movie from 1989 called Dr. Caligari. Dr. Caligari. There's that one from the 20s, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This was like a weird sexual remake thing. It's a very strange movie. I can't say I liked it, but it was strange. It was very weird. There's a couple of like sort of nightmare scenes on here that you'd be like, wow, I never saw that before. I've never seen that before.
And coming from you, that's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot. But you know what? There's definitely some things there I'm like, wow, I have not seen that. So if you're in the mood for that kind of stuff, I'd say watch it. It's on Shudder. Up next was Ghost in the Machine from 1993. This was about electric surge causes a serial killer's soul to end up in a computer system. This was the early 90s. All this stuff was computer-based kind of stuff. Not a bad concept necessarily, but, the CGI is just absolutely terrible. I mean, it didn't hold up very well at all. Not a bad movie per se, but, it definitely is of its time. That kind of deal.
Okay.
Up next was The Strange Things About the Johnsons.
Oh, wow.
I remember we talked. You watched this before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is the first time I ever watched it.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, what?
I know, right? Like, it's all like a family, and you're like, it's family in the suburbs when I'm watching, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and this is something you can watch on YouTube. I'm like, what the heck?
I know. I think that's where I watched that too. I'm like, what about YouTube? We got all that crazy shit out there. It's a short. I can't remember how long it is, but
it's like 28 minutes, so it's almost half an hour. Yeah, it's wild. Definitely. So Ari Aster, right? He's the one that directed that. The guy who did Hereditary. He's the one that made the movie. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Very, very different movie.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Yeah. I liked it though. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I liked it. It was well made.
Yep. It had the shock value was definitely there for sure.
Yes, for sure. Up next was a 2023 movie called T Blockers.
T, like the letter T?
T Blockers. Yep.
T Blockers. I haven't heard of this one.
Now, this is about an Australian filmmaker, Alice McKay. I talked about last year maybe. I watched that movie Bad Girl Boogie, and so prolific. This barely an adult. I mean, maybe still a teenager. Already got like 14 credits, I think. 13 director credits.
Oh.
Crazy. So I've seen So Vam and Bad Girl Boogie, T blockers now. And Alice just keeps putting them out. Like, not, I wouldn't say year after year. Like, I don't know how many is made a year here, and it's like, it's wild. But I mean, they're pretty good. Honestly, I like Bad Girl Boogie better than this one. This one's a little heavy-handed with the messages, for sure, on this one. But it's still, honestly, not for a barely maybe 20-year-old, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And it's already gotten 2 more after this one already made.
Did you say 20 years old?
Yeah, I think so.
Dang, wow, that's pretty impressive.
20 years old and like 13, 14 credits.
Wow, that's super impressive.
I mean, let me see. Let me 19 years old. 19 years old.
Oh, not even 20 years old.
Not even 20.
Not even legal to drink. Not even legal to drink. That's pretty impressive.
Almost as many credits as years of age. So, wild. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Just cranking them out. Up next was a movie called Under Paris. This is that shark movie that's on Netflix.
Shark movies.
Shark movie. I watched this one. I watched a little bit of that other one too, the No Way Up. I didn't watch it all.
Mm-hmm.
Zombies, sharks. I don't know. I mean, this Under Paris, it's not a bad movie. It's well done. Obviously, real well made kind of stuff. Compelling to vast degrees, but I don't know. Just
a good week to watch a shark movie. Last week, is you hear all those well, no, no. There's last week all those sharks in Panama City were like killing people. You remember that?
Oh yeah. Perfect time to bring out the.
Yeah, I mean, there's videos on social media and pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, shark movies are okay. I just don't love them for some reason. There's like 2 or 3 I really love, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And there's so many.
I'm not real big on them either. Some people really love them. It's ironic. I was actually wearing a Jaws shirt today.
I Jaws.
Love Jaws. Jaws is the original, but a lot of people love. There's a huge following for shark horror movies, but it's not ever been my thing.
I think I can't really get past the CGI aspect of it completely. Like, obviously the ones on this Paris, I mean, they look good for CGI, but they're CGI, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but a lot of them don't look good at all, But there's not much you can tell, It's really people stranded in the water, right? And the shark's going to get you, or close to the water, in the water or close to the water. I don't know. It's just. It's limited, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody's going to blow it out of the water, no pun intended, with something new. We'll see.
Blow it out of the water. There you go.
Up next, 1998, Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, Scooby-Doo, I love Scooby-Doo growing up. I always watched the cartoon and stuff. I turned this on, and the kids watched it with me, and I think I really got my youngest into Scooby-Doo now. She's watched quite a bit of it. So, but this was like my favorite Scooby-Doo at the time because, all the shows and stuff was always like catching the whole thing was you catch the villain and you pull the mask off, right? It was a guy in a mask.
Yeah.
Well, this one turns the heads on all that. This is the movie that turns the heads on that. So, I like this movie. It's very good.
I didn't even remember that about it. That's pretty funny because I didn't remember that.
Sure does. Up next is 2023's found footage movie Frogman. It's basically very much a Blair Witch ripoff kind of deal.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of things ripped straight from the Blair Witch there. So if you love found footage, you have to watch it. But other than that, you could probably skip it. Up next was The Strangers Chapter 1.
Oh yeah, okay.
the new one that just came out not that long ago. Now, The Strangers. I don't think you're a fan of this, if I recall correctly. The franchise. I would call it. I don't know if you see. That's the thing.
Well, I've only seen the first one because I never watched the second one, even
Yeah.
though Tracy gives me shit all the time because he's like, "You've got to watch the second one. The second one's like better than the first one." And I'm
See,
like,
I know.
"It's a home invasion movie. I mean, that's all it is."
Well, the second one is different, but I do not think it's better than the first one. I think the first one is amazing. I actually really love the first one. To me, the first one can give you chills because it's so realistic about like a lot of times you watch a horror movie and there's nothing to really fear because it's a monster or it's a ghost. You know what I mean? It's like there's certain things not really going to make you afraid in real life. But if you break down the Strangers, the first one, and it's just people that are wanting to kill somebody who's home. And if you're home and you answer the door, you're it. And that's it. And there's no more calculations about it. There's no more motive. It's just that. That is a chilling thing in reality. And it's so well done, I think, personally. The second one, I like okay. I know a lot of people don't like the second one, actually. I like it okay because it didn't really try to totally tread the waters of the original one. I mean, I don't like it nowhere near as good as the first one. And it totally did go a little differently. But I mean, I do like it. It's got a great soundtrack. But it's okay. Now, this one, the new one, chapter one, it's chapter one of three. It's a trilogy kind of a deal. Sort of a reboot kind of situation. But after I watched this, I was left thinking I don't really know if this should be a franchise.
Okay.
I don't really think this has franchise material, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't feel it. It's like, I feel like the first one is a standalone movie that should have stayed that way and is just eerie and creepy in and of itself. And now luckily, you don't learn anything about these characters in this one. Maybe you do in part 2 or 3. I don't know. I don't want to know anything about these characters because you definitely learn nothing in the original about them. But it mostly is a retread of the original, but except, with not as good actors. I don't know. I mean, the story's a little different, obviously, but it's essentially the same thing. There's not as much cat and mouse. For some reason, you don't see the girls' hairs, the back of their head, the hair, and I don't know why that is, but I didn't like that for some reason. And that's just me being picky, but I didn't like it. But to me, there wasn't enough suspense. There was some suspense, but it just didn't feel. I don't know. I love the first one. I do. I think it's great, and it's an okay movie. This one, the new one, it's an okay movie, but I wasn't like, oh shoot, that was fantastic. Again, I don't really know. I'll watch all of them, but I don't know if it should be a franchise. I feel like I feel like the first one said everything that it could say. Because there's really, all they really are doing in their own sort of way is repeating it. I mean, I know the second one's a little different, but it's still them trying to.
Still the same concept, really.
It's sort of. I mean, yeah, it's a little different tone, the second one is. But again, there's really not much you can do. So I don't know. I don't know if this should be a franchise, but.
Probably
anyway,
why I never watched the second one, probably, I'm thinking, because I thought it was going to be kind of the same. But, I really should do a rewatch on them. Sometimes so I watched The Strangers the first year it came out, it came out, and maybe I was in a bad mood that day. I don't know. Sometimes your mood or whatever can affect how you see a movie. So maybe I should do a rewatch, but I do remember not liking it. It's not that I didn't like it. I just wasn't super impressed with it. That's all.
Well, I watched it in theaters and I was actually super impressed with it. And I was a filmmaker at the time. And I just remember thinking, I could make this movie. I think the budget probably went to the actors. You had Liv Tyler, Scott Speedman, and stuff like that. I mean, the movie was done so simply. I was like, anybody can make this movie. It's so simple yet.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's so simple. It's just a home invasion movie.
But there's no nothing couldn't be pulled off. If you just came up with that story yourself, and $20, you can make that movie and make it effective. Just you wouldn't have the actors, but you know what I'm saying? It's really a really simple premise. Now, I do like simple premises sometimes when they work. Anyway, moving on. I got more. Okay. 2008, Amusement. 2008 amusement. Three women are stalked by a killer with a grudge that extends back to the girl's childhood. So it's kind of like, it's sort of like three stories kind of in a way, but they all intertwine. It's a decent movie. There is a clown scene in here that I think you would find pretty creepy.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the clown is on the cover of the poster and everything. So, but I mean, it's not a great movie. The killer's laugh gets on my nerves big time, but it's not a bad movie. Up next was After Dark's The Prowl from 2010. After Dark, they came up with a lot of these movies, kind of straight to DVD kind of a deal. This one was okay. It's about these people that kind of get roped into these sort of kind of like vampires, kind of like werewolves, maybe a blend. They don't really say what they are, I don't think, but they definitely eat people, and drink blood. So, but yeah, it wasn't bad. I watched a lot of those After Dark ones. I'm not going to talk about all of them because I did watch a lot of those rewatches and stuff. Up next, so SRS, I think that's the name of the film company, the one that produces they distribute a lot of independent films. I think that was them. They had a sale recently, so I bought a few movies. I watched some of them. I haven't watched them all, but I'll tell you a few of them. I picked some weird ones, okay? This one's called Dead Butterfly, The Prophecy of Suffering Bible.
That's different.
An angel trapped between the world of light and the world of the flesh, lost in a hell of avid and insane souls, a prey to their desires. A movie in 5 acts. The path to humanity between the birth and death in the dark ocean of sin, where we aren't but castaways clinging to the madness of our choices. That sounds pretty lofty. It's really weird. Not a lot. I don't know if there's any dialogue in this movie. It's really weird. I don't think you would like it, to be honest. While there are gore and stuff like that and everything, I don't think it's plot centric for you.
Okay.
Enough. And really it's the same with this one as well. Night of Doom. In the near future, due to a new powerful drug named Doom, violence and madness rule among the city. In one long night, Doom changes the life of 4 people forever. This one has a little bit more dialogue, but it still don't have a whole lot.
Oh, wow.
There's more dialogue, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot at all. Up next was a movie called Mother from 2006. This is another one of those from that company. No dialogue in this one whatsoever. This is a interpretation, I guess you would say, an adaptation of Ed Gein.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know. I could use a little words here and there. A few words here and there. I don't know. That was an interesting creative choice to not do that, but it was done. Not sure you like that one either. Up next is a movie from 2022 called The Elderly. This is a Spanish movie. Yeah, it's a Spanish movie. And so it's about this older guy. He enters a state of dementia after the sudden suicide death of his wife, sparking a series of paranormal events that will put his family's lives at risks. So it's really weird because, obviously his wife starts acting weird and jumps off a building, and then he starts acting weird. But it's not just him; it's like his whole building, his elderly people and these neighbors, and they're acting weird. And there's this whole subset of what's happening, making them weird, kind of forcing him to. But then things get bloody. It's pretty good, honestly. It's worth a watch.
Okay.
It's on AMC. I liked it. I thought it was good enough for a watch for sure.
Okay.
Up next is Where the Devil Roams. I think that one just dropped not too long ago on Tubi. This is the Addams Family. Do you remember the Addams Family? I don't know if you've seen any of their movies or not. They did that one, The Hellbender, that was on a Shudder a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, Hellbender. Yeah.
Yeah. So same one. That family. It's kind of cool. Their whole family just does different characters and stuff. And so this one's about kind of these freak show, traveling circus kind of performers who really want to give the audience some real magic. So
what's this? What's it called again?
It's called Where the Devil Roams.
Okay, Where the Devil Roams. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so they kind of learned this trick about losing appendages and then sewing them back on and losing them again. It's kind of the ultimate trick where, like, oh, wow, how'd you do that? So what happens is they cut their appendages off, cut their arm off, right? Say, well, then eventually the arm rots, and so then they got to go get another arm. You know what I mean? So,
Oh wow.
pretty decent little movie. Yeah, not too bad. And then that end scene. I don't want to give it away. I could tell you a movie, and you'd be like, oh. But this is something you have not seen but once in your life. You have seen it once. Most people have, horror lovers, but you haven't seen it in a long ass time. And I'm like,
Okay.
whoa.
Okay. Say, oh my god, you got me so curious now.
So
I have to go watch it.
That's just the very last scene on that one. Yeah. Up next, so now I talked about Sweatshop. I love it. I think it's great. I can't sing its praises anymore, really, for the limitations of a low budget that it has. If you had some like real actors and maybe just punched up that script a little bit, man, that would have been a fantastic movie. Anyway, Stacey Davidson. So I was like, oh my god, this guy. What else has he made? You know, I got to see some other stuff. I had to really, really search to find this movie called Domain of the Damned. Apparently, it got released on DVD, like very limited copies. I couldn't find any like under $80, $90. I mean, and like very rare to find at all anyway. I don't even think it's even on eBay at this point. But so I finally found it and I watched it. And this one came out 2 years before Sweatshop. And I will say, man, he really grew a lot in those 2 years. This is not a bad movie. I'll tell you, the editing sucks. The editing on this movie absolutely sucks. Like, it's jarring, and I'm like, why? What was this decision? I don't even understand it. There's way too much shit going on in this movie. It's like everything but the kitchen sink is in here. A lot of great kills. There's so many freaking kills. Like, oh my god, I mean, a lot of good stuff. The effects aren't as good as Sweatshop, but there's some decent ones in here. It's just kind of all over the place, but it's about a haunted house, and really the premise for 2007 was pretty good because we've seen all these other movies that's come out since then, like Haunt and Hellfest and Bloodfest and all these different ones about haunted houses, you know, and things that are going wrong inside haunted houses. Talon Falls, you know, so many movies have that premise, right? But this one, I mean, and I'm not saying this is the first one ever, but this one, you know, came out before all those. And that's kind of what it is. But there's other stuff going on. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. We got like these ancient sort of curse thing with these CGI demons and winged creatures. It's very weird. But sometimes there were so many people. I'm like, who is the bad guy? It seems like everybody's the bad guy at one point. There's just too much going on. There is a good movie in here. I feel like it just wasn't harnessed. You know what I mean?
It's like he took all his ideas and put it in one movie.
Yeah. Mostly that editing, though. That editor, man, he should be fired. Because it just, look, it just terrible. It was terrible editing. But to go from this to 2 years later to Sweatshop, oh my God, what a world of difference. But there are some cool, like I said, there's some way cool scenes in this movie. I would say worth checking out. It's just not a good movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's not a good movie, but it does have some really cool kills. All right. And then the last thing I watched today, I did I guess you say a rewatch, because I know I saw this one when it came out a long time ago, but it's been a long time. My Boyfriend's.
Oh, wow. That's an oldie.
That's an oldie.
Oldie. It's a goodie, though. It's fun. It's fun.
That's a good one, yeah. From 1993. My Boyfriend's Back. It's one of those fun PG-13 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I could go on and on. I'm not going to. That's all I have.
Until next time, right?
Well, we can't wait so long because I'll have a book. I'll have to write a book.
No doubt. I know. Well, I got me some good movies to my list, and I
Okay.
feel sometimes I've been craving. I'm traveling a lot for work lately, and I
Mm-hmm.
crave good horror movies. I'm like, I need to watch a movie. I know because you like movies as much as I do. You love them as much as I do. Horror movies. You
Mm-hmm.
get a craving. You're like, I need a movie to satisfy me. And a lot of shit I've
Oh
watched
yeah.
they're great, but they haven't like give me that good satisfaction. That's why I've done like
Right.
if you notice my list is really short, but I had some rewatches on there because I haven't found anything new that's like really given me that, oh my God, I fucking love this, you know? So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just have to look up. Like again, look up. I just looked up with that Sweatshop. I never even heard of it, and I just came across it. And I was like, huh, that looks sort of interesting. I'll give it a go. But
mhm.
having not heard nothing about it, I had no recourse really to do so. But glad I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love those too. And then that's even like just surprise. Hey, it's awesome. I love those when you just
Yeah.
randomly come across and they turn out really good like that.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, you want to talk to Bill? Let's get on with the interview, shall we?
Yep. Let's do it. Bring him on.
All right. Cool.
Tonight we have a very special guest. We have actor, producer, Bill Russell.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up,
Yeah.
Bill?
Hey, not much. I can't remember the last time I talked to you guys.
Yeah.
Been a while.
It's been a
Been a
while for
while.
sure.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
it
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
So,
Happy belated birthday.
Oh wow, thank you
birthday
so
boy.
much. And if I'm not mistaken, happy belated birthday to you as well.
Thank you. I'm
I
chilling
Oh,
out,
know, just
buddy.
rock.
all right. We should have brought a cake. There you
Well,
Yeah.
you
go.
didn't.
Uh,
There's no wait. I was under the
uh,
impression there would be cake.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just hang around for that.
And
Uh,
presents too.
all right. So, Billy, what's been going on? You've been doing some movies, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay busy. Let's see. I was just in Colorado last month, like 3 weeks ago, to
Okay.
shoot some scenes for a movie called Field of Screams,
Okay. What's that
which
about?
is about love, life, and killer scarecrows, I believe is the tagline. I
Hmm.
play an old farmer who was an Appalachian witch, and I still kind of practice this witchcraft, and I have brought a scarecrow to life to be my companion. But then I pass away, and this living scarecrow, now with no master, uh, somehow turns evil and runs amok,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
becomes a slasher scarecrow.
Very cool.
Sounds creepy though. It kind of sounds fun, I think.
It does, and well,
Yeah.
and the guy playing the scarecrow, his name is Randy Roxburgh. Uh, he's it's almost like he's not really human. He's
Hmm.
tall and lanky, but can contort his body amazingly. And he's also a runway model. He's trained in physical movement. So what he does with that character, he really makes it look creepy.
Yeah.
And there is no face. It's a burlap bag over the head with these two black discs for eyes. So there's
Hmm.
never any face. It's like instead of wearing a hockey mask, he just doesn't have a face.
Right. Yeah.
It's a scarecrow face, but it's very disconcerting
I'm
because even with
sure.
a hockey mask, you could see the eyes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, there's nothing moved.
Oh.
It's like, what did you say?
So
It's like a potato sack? Like a potato sack?
yeah, like a gunny sack.
That's funny. Like
A burlap bag.
burlap bag. Okay. See,
Burlap.
you were saying the hockey mask. I was like, oh, it's kind of like Jason Voorhees before the hockey mask.
Yeah,
Remember?
yeah. Right,
It's
yeah. No, this is how he was made as a scarecrow, was with a burlap bag stuffed full of straw and two I don't know what they are, big black discs of tin. You know, they look like the top of a when you cut open the can of beans.
Oh, yeah.
But if it was black instead of silver,
Right. Right.
so it looks creepy as hell. And then when he,
Funny how just like a sack over a person's like those always look creepy as fuck to me. I don't know
yeah,
why.
oh
I'm like,
yeah,
it's just a sack. It's just a sack. That's it. But they're creepy as
right.
hell.
They
Yeah.
are.
It's been a long time
Yeah.
since we had a good scarecrow horror movie, don't you think?
Well,
All I can really
it's
think about
due.
is Dark Knight of the Scarecrow. It's like
Yeah.
really one of the better ones for sure.
Oh God, yeah, that's one of my favorites. I love that movie.
Well,
That's been a while, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
we're expecting Billy the Scarecrow to become the next big horror icon.
Excellent. Awesome. That's what we need. We need some new blood. What else are you doing horror wise? You know,
Uh,
now that you're on the horror bandwagon.
right now, in something I'm sure I haven't talked to you guys about this, that is currently streaming of all things on YouTube. They Came Back from Somewhere, which is a sequel to It Came from Somewhere, and I can't
Oh,
remember if we discussed that. What was it, a year ago that we talked?
we talked a little
That
bit
was
about
a
it. Yeah.
parody of Plan 9. And I just did an introduction for that. But this
Oh.
one, it's the sequel to it, but I play the alien supreme leader.
Oh. Okay.
And it's a really fun part. So
Very cool. So
So
it's a parody, basically.
I recommend you. Yeah, it's be a parody of the flying saucer movies of the 50s.
Sure. Awesome.
You know, so it's intentionally bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
they came back from somewhere on YouTube.
They Came Back from Somewhere. Yes, and that's
Right.
on YouTube right now. You don't have to pay for that.
Cool.
It Came from Somewhere is still playing on Tubi. Puppet Master Doctor Death. It Came from Somewhere. Evil Lurk and You're Out, which is a baseball movie that I have a great part in, are all playing on Tubi right now.
On
So
Tubi. All right. Yeah.
there you go.
Dude, we love Tubi. We
Who
love Tubi.
doesn't? Yeah,
Yeah.
who doesn't?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's another film coming out. It's in the last stages of editing, called Vic Effects. That's about a girl named Victoria, hence the Vic, who works doing sound effects, which is called a Foley artist in the film business. And I
Oh yeah.
play a sort of notorious horror film director, like a Wes Craven or John Carpenter type of person who known for the sound effects in my movies, but the fellow who's created those for me for years recently passed away. So I hire this new person played by Amanda Winston, who is she was also an Evil Lurk, and she's just amazing.
All right. Very cool.
So I hire her to take over my next horror movie, but the lines between reality and film fantasy start to blur, and the horror of the movie she gets sucked into that. So
Okay.
it's part psychological horror and part gory creature
Yeah.
stuff.
I love
Awesome.
it. A horror
Yes.
movie about a horror movie director
Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah,
making
well,
horror movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. I could see you playing that role too, like playing like a horror movie director. You could totally do that really well, I feel like.
Yeah, I couldn't direct a horror movie for shit, but I could
But you
pretend
can act the
I could
part.
pretend. Really, it's all in the wardrobe. You let the wardrobe do it. Oh yeah, well yeah. He's dressed like a horror movie director. All right.
Gotta have the cap. You have the cap. You gotta have a cap.
Yep, you got you've got the outfit. All right.
So what else you been doing? I know you've been doing some shows and stuff, conventions and all that.
Yeah. I just recently was in California in Riverside for something called the Halfway to Halloween Festival, which wasn't really a convention as such. We had a bunch of people there. Anthony Benarski, who was Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw 2003.
Yeah.
Gabriel Pimentel, who was Chucky in The Curse of Chucky. Al Burke was there. Um, Ira Heinlein from Dream Warriors, Nightmare
Yeah.
on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors,
Mm-hmm.
was there. So, it was almost more like a summer vacation.
Oh,
It was like if you had a lazy summer afternoon carnival, but that was horror themed. It was
very
sort of what
cool.
that was. So
All right.
it was a cool concept, but it was if you're expecting a convention experience, it definitely was not that. But in
Okay.
April, I was in New Jersey for the New Jersey Horror Convention, and I actually had a really great time there. There were people who knew, and primarily because of Puppet Master. There are a lot of Puppet Master fans who knew I was going to be there and came out, but also the same number of people who would just happen to walk by and were excited to see that, because they never see Puppet Master represented at horror conventions. And like, oh my God, somebody from a Puppet Master movie is here.
Right. Yeah.
That's a
That's
good
So,
point. That's a good point. There's a pretty large following for Puppet Master, but as many conventions as I've been to, I don't think I've ever seen anyone from a Puppet
no.
Master.
Uh,
Yeah.
at the Flashback Chicago weekend, usually has Charles Band is usually there, and there's a full moon presence. But to the best of my knowledge, and they don't really have any of the other actors there. They certainly never approached me. Um, I've let them know I'd be more than interested, but they're not interested in me. So it's like,
yeah.
okay,
I
as
actually
long
did.
as you're not stopping me from promoting myself, I'm
I
just
was
gonna
a
do my thing. I'm just gonna
right.
keep doing my thing.
Sure. I was a vendor at Flashback one year. They didn't have Charles there, I don't think, but it was another director from one of the Puppet Masters, I think, was there. But you're right; they don't do a lot of big like reunions or anything with all the actors.
No,
But give it 10 years, okay?
right?
Then we'll see.
Puppet Master movies are there? You know?
I
Wow.
There's
want
a
to
bunch.
say
A
that
bunch. How many?
Doctor Death was like. I want to say it was the 12th
Oh, no
official,
shit.
At,
12?
officially in the
at
series.
least,
Yeah,
yeah, I would think so.
yeah, and they're varying degrees of quality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There were years where they had access to a lot of money and they had really good films, and other ones that are just sort of like, one of those. We have a flimsy excuse for a flashback to use a bunch of clips from old movies.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it runs the gamut.
Sure.
But for what it is, Doctor Death is entertaining.
Yeah. Sure. Mhm. So now that you're stuck in the horror world, not stuck, but you're in there.
Right.
What are some of the influences you have in horror? You like horror, right?
I grew up watching a lot of Hammer and Universal films on the Late Show.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
extremely, extremely old. So when I grew up, there wasn't cable or recordings or anything. No satellite yet. It was all just your antenna on top of your roof.
Right.
So there was a very limited access, and you had no control over it. It was just whatever they showed. Thankfully, whatever reason,
Right.
they tended, or at least my memory is, they tended to show a lot of those kind of films on the Late Show.
Well, they certainly did, and so for kids, in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, and even 80s, I think I would say,
Right,
they grew up watching that sort of stuff. I did. I
right,
born in the
sure,
70s, grew up in the 80s. I watched that stuff on TV because that was what was catered to us, and you kind
right,
of had
yeah,
you kind of had to, yeah, because
right.
But now that you don't have to do that sort of stuff, my question is, what do you think today's kids like? What are they gonna look back on and say, "Oh, this is what I grew up on"? Because you think it'll be universal? Because I don't know if it would be that anymore.
I don't think so. It's at the very least, it's the '80s films, the '80s slasher films.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of, this is, I'm not being judgmental or anything, but a lot of younger people that I talk to, it's almost like horror really didn't begin until those '80s slasher films. Friday the 13th and Freddy and Halloween. And I'm a big Halloween fan. I saw Halloween in the theater in 1979 when it was first out. So, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm extremely old. So I was an early fan of that. Um, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost
What did
like
you think of it? What did you think of it when you first saw it? I think you're the first person I've ever talked to that's actually saw the original Halloween in the movie theater. So, what was your reaction to the movie?
I mean, it was, I liked it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's
was it
pretty
like,
cool. Y'all were like, "Oh,
There
I've never
wasn't
seen anything like this."
there wasn't a
What?
horror community that influences a lot of, I think there's a lot of people influence each other. I think a lot
sure.
right now because of social media, and you didn't have that back then.
Right.
Um,
True.
but yeah, I mean, it was very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was years before I finally was smart enough to say, "Gee, I need to watch this again." It was sort of like,
Yeah.
wow, it was almost like a new experience. It was like, oh yeah, that's what happened.
That's
Well,
pretty
But
cool. Yeah.
I do remember last time we had you on, Bill. Bridget had said something about like, "Oh, you would play a good Dr. Loomis."
Dr. Loomis, yeah,
I do remember. Do you remember that,
still
Bridget?
waiting, still waiting.
Still waiting.
I don't remember saying that, but I believe it. Yeah,
I
you
Well,
do,
totally would.
I do.
Yeah.
well,
Heck
well,
yeah.
you probably can't talk about this, but I do see something on a IMDb page. Could
There
be
is, there is
hearsay.
a, there's, well, it's on IMDb. You can talk about it. I guess I just really don't talk about it because other than them reaching out and saying, "Would you be willing to be attached to this
Okay.
project
Okay.
in this
All right.
part?" Uh,
So
that's all there is to it at this point.
who
But
knows what
yeah,
the
go
future
ahead.
holds? Who knows what the future holds? But we'll
Right,
see, right? We'll see. All
right.
right. Cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's ooh. I mean, I've said that much. Um, it's like Halloween 2 Part 2.
Yeah. Okay.
The concept is sort of the movie that people expected that Halloween 3 would be
Uh huh.
instead of what it turned out to be. Most people were like, "Wait a minute, we were expecting a continuation
Oh yeah. Yeah.
of
Sure.
Mike Myers."
Mhm. Right.
You do one, when you do the second one, everybody expects there's got to be the third one. So this is sort of like, this is what they want to do. What would that have been like? And so, they just reached out and said, would you be interested? Would you do it? Um, so we can put your name on there. And I said, sure.
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
So what other stuff you got going on, Bill? What's some newer movies you got coming out?
Something that just came out recently called Black Ice the Rhythm that I'm real proud of. Because it's a movie loosely based on real events from the 70s when uh, there was a neighborhood that was predominantly African American, and they wanted to take a rundown community center owned by or recreation center owned by the city and turn it into a hockey rink for black kids.
Oh.
And there was opposition to this. I played the director of the Department of Recreation, uh, who the evil old white dude, who's opposed to this because I kind of have an under the table deal with the developer who wants to buy the property and develop it for business.
Oh. Okay.
And I'm eventually blackmailed by one of my employees into capitulating.
Oh.
So
So you're the bad guy.
I am the bad guy. Oh, absolutely, I'm the bad guy.
Oh
Um,
wow, it sounds like a good movie though.
and
Sounds like a
it's
good movie.
really good. And then uh, this they call it a faith-based film, but it's not like a one of those preachy sports movies, if you know what I'm talking about. Like
Sure.
certain
Hmm.
quarterbacks may have made movies that were just sort of like let me beat the message over your head here.
Right.
It's not like that, but it's sort of this guy. His grandma gives him her old uh, cross on a necklace and it encourages him. So he's hired to coach the young black kids, and he takes them to see these black kids who do roller dancing in a roller skating rink, and is saying, "See, these guys have rhythm. That's what we need. If
Hmm.
we had that rhythm, that's how we could beat the other team." So they develop a skating style based on like dance skating.
Oh,
So
that's
All
pretty
right.
that's
smart.
where the
Okay.
rhythm part comes in. Yeah, and it's really like I said. I don't know that I did say this. I haven't had a chance to actually see it yet. All I've seen is the trailer. But from the trailer alone, it looks really great, and it's been playing in selected theaters, mostly in the Detroit area. But it's been getting really phenomenal feedback. So um, I'm hoping that they get a bigger theatrical run and that it starts streaming soon.
Yeah.
Is that
Cool.
based off a true story?
It's the part about uh, the opposition to the development that's all
Hmm.
real. It's the latter part of the film that I believe is embellished
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
because it's they originally it was tagged based on real events or based on a true story, and now they've worded it differently.
Hmm.
So it's not quite like we're not saying this is based on anything real.
Inspired by actually.
I
You can
don't
say
even think I don't even think they're using that.
don't use that. Okay. You can say
Yeah.
that. Just you can't put
Oh yeah, but yeah,
based. If you put based, right, that's where you get in trouble
yeah.
sometimes.
Well, yeah,
Hmm.
I like yeah, inspired would be right. Yeah, no, you're right. You're correct. I did say inspired. Inspired
Yeah.
by. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that's at the theaters right now, right?
It's in a few theaters,
Select theaters. Okay.
several theaters in the Detroit area, and then I know it's playing at a theater in Minneapolis. And the producer actually is from Dallas. It's going to be playing at a theater in Dallas in July.
Hmm.
So, like I said, hopefully, if it does well and generates some publicity, they'll get a wider release, or um,
Hmm.
and hopefully it starts streaming soon. So.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the it's I don't mean inspirational in a religious way, but just inspirational in a
Positive.
the
Sort of
resilience
positive.
of the human spirit. Yeah, and giving everybody equal playing field.
Cool. Awesome.
I have to
So yes,
ask. I can't remember. That's I'm throwing you a curveball. I can't remember. And it's been over a year since we talked last. And you do watch some horror movies. What is your favorite horror movie? Everybody wants to know. What's your favorite horror movie?
um, yeah, and I remember the last time like having to.
Did I ask you? I always ask
Yeah,
everyone that
you
comes
did,
on.
and that's
Yeah,
why it's interesting that you don't remember
I don't remember.
the
Nope. Do you remember Mike?
Uh,
Mike's. Do you remember?
I no, I don't. I can't
it
recall
was.
the title.
I said if I had to pick just one movie and say this is my favorite, it would be Halloween. Um,
Hmm.
and because
Okay.
it was uh, like I said, I saw it in the theater, and it did have um, it had more of an impact than I just said a moment ago. The more I
'Cause-
think about it, it
well,
was
that's
it was it really did have a big influence. And again, I wasn't thinking of myself as uh, I was I wasn't even really doing any acting yet at that point. I had just moved to Chicago. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I started taking classes in script writing and filmmaking at Columbia College in Chicago
yeah.
before I started doing any acting. I knew I had a passion for movies and for entertainment and wanted to be part of that. And I at the time I thought, well, that's probably where my entry would be. You know, I
Yeah.
enjoyed writing, and I spent a lot of my time growing up sitting in front of the TV watching movies because where I grew up in rural Wisconsin, and uh, there weren't other kids around to play with. So, and I didn't have siblings until I was 10 or 11 years old myself. So, those first 10 years of my life, I basically just sat in front of a television all the time, which explains a lot, I think.
That's good.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? I would ride bicycles with my brother and play outside as a kid, but at the end of the day, we would both really good memories of mine. My brother and I would play outside all day, and then at night we'd go take our baths, eat dinner, and watch horror movies together all night. It was really fun. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in
See,
front of the
I did that.
TV too.
Yeah, but I was, by myself. This was, I'm sure my parents would not have allowed me to watch those if they knew. They were, they usually were asleep by 10 o'clock. And I would sneak back out in the living room and have the volume as low as I could. So that meant I'm sitting directly in front, and these are the old televisions that had the giant tubes in
Oh
them.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm sure it's like a lot of radiation, which again explains a lot. Um,
Oh man.
so yeah, but I was by myself, so it was
Yeah.
a weird experience. So having said Halloween, I also have to say I have so much respect for the original Dracula. Um, with Bela
Bella,
Yeah.
Lugosi and
Bella
Todd
Lugosi.
Browning. I think it's a really well made film, and it's underappreciated for what it is. And
Sure.
just it's atmospheric, and it was also pre-code, so it's a little racier than they'd be a little later.
Right.
The whole thing, it's just, yeah, it's
It's been a while since I've seen that one. I need to do a rewatch.
yeah,
I probably haven't seen that. God, I think the last time I saw that, it's probably been a good, probably 15 years ago. So
right,
about
yeah.
time for a rewatch. There's so many movies these days that it's hard to
Well,
keep them.
that's
I was
just
like,
it.
God, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I just said, wow, I haven't seen that in 15 years. That's about right. About 15, 16 years. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Go back and do
is.
a watch.
It is hard to go back and do all your rewatches of the things you love because there are so many new things coming out all the
That's
time.
yeah, that's it. It's like that's the pit I fall into. It's about, well, I've seen that one, even though I do want to watch it, but there's these others I still haven't seen. So then I keep putting off rewatching,
Yeah. Yep.
and
Same
until
here.
they're like, oh, now I don't remember. It's going to be like watching it for new, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Not necessarily, no, but I know obviously the movies that are really, really ingrained in my head are usually the ones I watched 2 or 3 times, or more.
Sure,
So,
right.
uh, so I think a lot of these movies that I've been watching the last 10 years, I'll probably be like, "Have I? Oh, I've already done it." Where I'll start watching a movie and be like, "Oh, wait, I've already seen this,"
Yes,
but didn't know it at the time.
I do that. Yes, I do that.
Well, that makes three of us then, because I'm just as guilty.
It
Yep,
happens. It happens.
it does. Yeah.
All right, Bill, you got anything else for us?
I don't know if I mentioned that Full Moon is coming out with new Puppet Master trading cards. I
Yes.
believe there's going to be a card that features uh, fan artwork that was done of my character with the Doctor Death character. I believe it's going to be one of the cards included in
Now,
the pack.
these
But I'm
trading
not one.
cards.
I'm not at liberty to say that for certain yet. So
Yeah, where would people buy these at? Like conventions or something? Where would you get these
no,
online?
I mean, well, they can get them online through Full
Yeah.
Moon Features, or I
Okay.
assume they will be sold in, like places that sell horror merchandise,
Sure. Okay.
like costume shops and places like that.
Right.
That's pretty cool, though. I'm like, if Doctor Death has a trading card, I want one.
Right?
And then you need your own toy too. Got to have your own toy action
I,
figure.
yeah, I had the some when I was in California, this halfway to Halloween thing. One of the vendors there made up a batch of Doctor Death replica figures for me. I
Oh,
still have a few left, so
very cool.
Oh,
uh,
that's awesome.
so yeah, so but yeah, it really it's not that difficult in this day and age to have like an action figure made of yourself or something like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
at
pretty
some
much
point,
anyone can. I think you can even get like the little pop Funkos. I think you can go and have
Yeah.
them like
absolutely,
customized, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
yeah.
custom made. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. You got any other events coming up, Bill?
Coming up November 2nd in Gardena, California.
Yeah.
There's a place there called the Gardena Theater, and it's the oldest operating theater in California. It's even older than Grauman's Chinese. It goes back to 1946. It's been restored. It's this
Wow.
opulent movie palace, seats 800 people in a single. It's just the one screen. Uh, but they are going to be screening on the theater. Uh, Puppet Master Dr. Death, and they're going to have me come in as a guest to do a Q&A afterward.
Oh, that's very
And this
cool.
this was organized by my friend Rob Whitcraft, who runs Radio Wastelands on Instagram. Um, but he made the connection. He knew the people who run the theater and proposed this idea, and they liked it. So it's going to kind of be a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a big deal. It's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun. A lot of
You
fun.
said that's November the 2nd?
November 2nd, yes.
Okay, November 2nd.
Okay.
The Gardena Theater. Gardena's, I want to say, West LA area,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. I know it's part of the greater Los Angeles metro area.
Okay. Nice.
Very
I
cool.
bet that's a
Very cool.
pretty cool theater too, isn't it? Have you seen the theater?
It's
Have you ever been there?
I haven't been there. I've just seen what's pictures online. I've posted a few things on my Instagram. But it looks, I mean, it's restored. It's operated now as a nonprofit. It's run like a landmark more than like a
Oh, yeah.
movie
Yeah.
theater.
Sure.
So they only show like older movies or cult movies. What's known as a revival house. They tend to show just specialized films of all different kinds.
There you go.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
like that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely.
Cool. Well, we
the kind of theater that's geared toward movie lovers.
Yes.
kind of reminds me Nashville has Full Moon Cineplex. Kind of reminds me that's what I'm kind of thinking, but it only holds like maybe I don't know 50, 60 people, and you're saying this theater
Right,
holds 800.
800. Yeah.
I
They
So
mean,
have
that's
the
a massive
that's
theater.
that's why I'm saying people better buy tickets now because
right.
800 will go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's a little intimidating. It's like, oh my God, 800. But
800. Yeah.
we're my friend Rob is also working on some possible other uh, people being part of the evening that also have a performance art rock band
Oh.
might be
Okay.
part of the evening, and they have their own sizable following. So
There you go.
we have a good chance of, if not filling it, having it, predominantly filled.
Yeah. Definitely.
Predominantly filled. That doesn't seem like that. Those two words should go together.
Well, it depends on the context, I guess.
Yeah. Right, cool. Well, we really appreciate you coming on here. God, it's
Oh,
been
thank you for having
over
me.
a year. Yeah. God, I
Yeah, I can't believe.
know you've been
Yeah, it
busy.
doesn't feel like it's been that long.
Yeah, keeping up with you on social media, I'm like, wow, you're always doing something. You're really fun to follow. I'm like, he's staying busy and always having a good time.
Right. Yes. I try to make that appearance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
good deal. Well, all right, man. Until next
It
time,
was
we'll
good
see
talking to
you.
you guys. I really enjoy
Yeah.
hanging out with both of you, and let's not wait a whole year to do this again.
yeah,
Okay.
no
Sure.
doubt.
Come on
All
Yeah,
back.
right.
We'll talk about some
okay,
Excellent.
more.
okay,
Cool.
All right. Later.
okay.
Later. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, Bill Russell. Yeah, Bill.
Bill, he's so fun.
So fun. So full of energy.
I know it.
Going out there, making it happen, doing the work, and got his career going.
Yeah, he's done a lot of horror stuff. Like when we talked to him a little over a year ago, he wasn't as big
I
into the
think
horror scene.
I think he only had like two horror credits maybe at that point, maybe two or three. But yeah, he's definitely done a lot more and more to come. I
Yeah,
guarantee you. So, yeah, very cool. All right, that's all I got. You got anything for me?
man, that's it for tonight.
All right. Well, boys and girls, you know what to do. You know what to do. You got to stay
Hardcore.
Yeah. All right. Until the next time,
Till
Bridget,
next time.
later.
Later.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Nothing harder.
Hardcore Horror with Mike and Bridget is a part of the Tennessee Horror Podcast Network.